And that's the end of a disappointing test match if you're an Indian fan, but what a fantastic test match it has been if you're a test cricket fan or a neutral fan or an English fan. But if you're an Indian fan, we already see the disappointment in the chat, but you have to
Yeah.
admit it was one fantastic test cricket. I mean, the entire 5 days until the
Hmm.
last session, you had the teams battling it out. Every day it seemed like the other team was had the upper hand, and then the next day or the next session just turned it around, and today was almost exactly that. But here we are after India loses and England takes one up in the lead in the series. One up lead in the series, that is. But yeah, if you guys are joining in for the first time, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Like the stream, it'll push the live to a lot more people.
Yes, definitely do that.
And oh yeah, if you guys are joining us for the first time, we do have a lot of segments, and we will continue to do that today. Positives for the day. Yes, there are a couple of positives for the Indian team. Negatives for the day, which are quite plenty actually. And then we have a stat bit where you can show off to your friends and family about the things you know from this match. And then we have few technical bits, interestingly, about Ben Ducket, who just took the game away from us. And yeah, then we will address the chat and talk to you guys. But Manav, hi. Judge, hi. A lot of you guys joined in for all 5 days, so thank you for that. Akshay, Krishnan, Orange Juice. Damn, hi. Umang, I think I said Manav already. Srikanth, of course, how can I forget you? Luffy, Ravi Singh. Damn, what was our fielding boys? Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We will get
Yeah.
into everything, every bit of stuff. There's a lot to talk about. For the most part, all of these segments are just covering what happened today. But then with chat and all of that, we will talk about what happened in
The
the last
test match
4 days.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, so Shankar, hi Sanket, hi AC. It's great to see you guys here. It's great to know that a lot of you guys have actually joined in the entire 5 days. So appreciate the support. Like, you know what? Let's get into it. There's 61 people. Hopefully things just build on. If you're joining us for the first time or for the first time today, hit that like. Let's get into the scorecard.
All right, nothing much to see here except the fact that India has lost. But just to summarize the test match itself, India putting on 471 in the first innings after being put into bat. A lot of people thought that this was a good toss for Shubman Gill to have lost. Turns out history and trends still hold true, something that we've spoken about on the very first day pre match of how bowling first is the way to go, and England have shown why that's the case. England getting 465 in their first innings, India in reply 365. A couple of collapses for the Indian team, and then England coming out today 21 for no loss overnight and chasing it down today 373 for 5. Of course, your picture right there, Ben Ducket 149 of 170, ensuring that England win this game.
All right, let's go from the scorecard to the merit of the day. I mean, there are a couple of merits of the day. You know what? I started the day too by bashing Siraj. I'll start off the last day, even though India have lost, with praising Siraj. I think today he was the best bowler of the lot. Of course, we have Jasprit Bumrah, but I thought Siraj got a lot from this wicket today. He did extremely well. He started off fantastic. I mean, his line and lengths were consistent, and that is what was missing in this test match. But Siraj came about today, and at one point, it was the first time in this test match where he had an economy of less than Bumrah, and so that only goes to show how Siraj just improved in this test match. And if you guys did watch the first couple of not sessions, first session, first half an hour, and the first hour, the contest between Zach Crawley and Siraj was very interesting to watch. Zach Crawley advancing and missing the ball, but Siraj, it didn't get to him, and I was surprised by it, but pleasantly surprised. Siraj continued to stick to that line and length. Of course, today you could possibly say that he was a bit unlucky because I honestly felt like he gave it his all. And yeah, just the fact that you could see that a form of Siraj that we know him to be, just being back. And I thought he did that the entire day. So kudos to him. Even though we went on to lose the game, I think Siraj stepping up in this last day was just a positive to hold on to, and hopefully for the next couple of tests as well. And then there are a couple of other positives. I think Jadeja coming onto his own. He did take his time, which we will talk about. But Jadeja coming onto his own in the last couple of hours, it just felt good to watch because it's been a while. He struggled in Australia. He struggled in the first innings, even though even in the first innings, he took way too long to get to his own. But he eventually got the captain out. Again, another positive. Prasidh Krishna, I thought started off well, but again, with every over, He gave a loose delivery. He gave a boundary. Even in the spell that he was bowling to Ollie Pope and he got a wicket, and then Harry Brook. Oh no, that was Shardul Thakur. But the two wickets that he got, who was the first wicket that he got? Oh, Zach Crawley. He got Crawley out and Ollie Pope out. No, he didn't get Pope out bowled.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did get Pope out bowled. Yeah,
Laid out.
even in that spell, I thought Prasidh Krishna was doing well every time either he was pitching it up or bowling the shot of good length that we kept on going about. When he was doing these two, he was doing great. But even then, there were a couple of boundaries, which we'll talk about. But there was a positive there. Then the golden arm, he took 2 wickets. He got Ben Ducket out, short covers, and Harry Brook out, caught behind. I mean, back-to-back wickets. It almost felt like we could possibly be back in the game. But there were a couple of positives, but the most important positive is what I started off with is Mohammad Siraj. I think if he can continue the series long, I don't think Bumrah is a lone man. Let's go from the positives to the splits.
All right, moving to splits versus Brits, which is basically the negatives, and there were a lot of them today. So it's going to take both me and Ashwin to talk about the negatives for the day and for probably the test match later on. But I think from a bowling perspective, while the Indians did bowl a lot better today compared to the first innings, there were still so many chinks in the Indian bowling armor. For starters, definitely Bumrah not being on the money goes on to show that even with Bumrah in the side, you still need a complete bowling effort to be able to support him, because he isn't going to be able to do that lone man job every single innings. And that is something that was on display today, because Bumrah seemed a little lackluster. Now that could be attributed to him just having bowled how many ever overs he did, or just the fact that the English batters batted extremely well. That's on Bumrah. Siraj was the only standout bowler, as Ashwin has covered. With Prasidh and Shardul, I think the biggest problem was the inconsistency. We've been raving about how in every over, Prasidh has not been able to ball his natural length, which is short of a good length, or he's not been able to even pitch it full. And in every over, he is giving that ball that a batter can either pull away or cut away. And the same thing with Shardul, right? When Shardul was pitching it up, he was able to get the batters guessing. He was able to keep them guessing, but in each over, what we were saying is if there were 4 good balls, it was followed by 1 or 2 bad deliveries. That would eventually mean that the England batters were consistently still managing to get 4 to 5 runs every over, which means there's absolutely no pressure. Now, even in terms of the fielding and captaincy, which Ashwin will talk about, but I have to talk about the fielding bit once again. India today also was sloppy with their ground fielding. In fact, if I'm being honest, and for the longest time I can remember in recent test matches, this has been some of the worst fielding by Indians. Not just catching, but just in the outfield, and them being so lazy. Rishabh Pant too, there were a couple of times when Ben Stokes, I think, kind of gloved it in the air while Jaddu was bowling, and he didn't even go for it. And then there was one where Shardul slipped, and he just sat there and he waited for the ball, and he took like 2-3 seconds to get up and go collect the ball. Jaddu was also pissed at that. But yeah, it just seemed like the Indian body language was not up to the mark. Sure, you're getting absolutely belted by the opposition, but you need to at least show up with the intent or the want to win. And I feel like that is something that obviously it's easy to say and it's very tough to maintain that body language, but that's something that was also lacking.
Let's go from this to the other side of negatives. I think I will criticize Shubman Gill, the captain. I think, yeah, sure, it's his first test match and there's a lot to learn. And if you have to learn, you need to know you've made mistakes. It's not as if he's going to watch us, but we're not going to shy away from criticizing him, even if it's his first test match. I think purely in the last couple of, I want to say 2 hours, I did not understand Shubman Gill, the captain. His fielding change to get Ben Stokes out, I thought was brilliant. I thought that played with Ben Stokes' ego. He put a short point and Ben Stokes went. I mean, it's not short point, it was a point. It was short point. I'll call it short point. And he played with Ben Stokes' ego. He played the reverse sweep again and got out. Great. But I did not understand why he was letting the game go away and not bowling either a Siraj or a Bumrah. If you're worried about workload and not bowling Bumrah, I get that. But he waited until the new ball to bowl Siraj, and by the time you knew the game was going to go, he started off with Jadeja and Prasidh Krishna gave away a lot of runs, and I was hoping that Siraj comes on later on, and then he changes that with Shardul Thakur, which made absolute no sense. Yes, Shardul Thakur got you wickets, and you're hoping for that again. But when Shardul Thakur was leaking runs, you would then hope that Siraj comes back in straight away and not wait for the new ball. The whole waiting game until this 80th over to get that new ball just made no sense, because if you're waiting that long, the England bat is already settled. Root and Jamie Smith looked good. even if not Jamie Smith, even Ben Stokes looked good enough until he did get out. And so the whole waiting period is something I did not understand. And I think that should be looked at because I don't know what the strategy was there. I don't know how far Shubman Gill thought India were going to go with the new ball. I mean, it was no brainer that by the time the new ball came, the English batters would look to attack because they're settled. The pitch looks flat, and yeah, I was just astonished by all of that. And yeah, like Praatibh already talked about the fielding, even Karun Nair leaving one for a boundary. I thought I did like it's the fielding has stepped up in the last couple of years, but this year was just a new level where it just stooped below something I can't even explain. So yes, that's the merit. Let's talk about oh what a grit, and that's moment of the day. I think there's only one. I want to say there are a couple, but we'll start off with Jaiswal dropping Ben Ducket at 97. 97, getting him out at that point would have been very crucial. Not saying India would have gone on to win at that point, but it would have turned things around for sure. Especially because the way Ben Ducket just attacked after scoring 100 and attacked Jadeja, I mean, this is a ideal world and possibility. God knows what would have happened if Jaiswal took that catch, Ben Ducket out for 97, and Jadeja being on it from then. And so things would have turned around. I mean, we already took 5 wickets. God only knows. It became easier for Root and Jamie Smith because the runs were not as much. But if Ben Duckett did get out at that point, things would have been a little different. And I want to say India would have been. It would have been more difficult for the English batters to go on to win the game, but we'll never know. But also, why that's the moment of the day. I think a couple of others are the bowling changes. I think not bringing Siraj back and waiting for the new ball, and even the Rishabh Pant's catch. You can't call it a catch because he didn't go for it, but I thought he should have looked for it. I mean, as a wicketkeeper, and I've kept for a while, I'm not saying I know more than Rishabh Pant. As a fielder, you would just like you just instinctively look for the ball, and Rishabh Pant didn't do that. I don't know what that was about, but yeah, those are a couple of moments of the day.
And from there, we move to credit for the bit, which is the Indian performer of the day. And although it was a very bad day for India as a whole, I think Mohammad Siraj, despite him not getting a wicket, I don't think he got a wicket, did he? Yeah, he didn't. Despite that, I think he was the best bowler on display. Not only was he swinging and seaming the ball, but there was also a lot of usage of the wobble seam. He seemed to consistently pressurize any of the batters that came in. He was hitting really good areas. And this is the Mohammad Siraj that honestly we've missed in the last few test series. If he is finally getting into rhythm and if he can take this forward into the next test match and possibly the rest of the series, it's going to augur very, very well for India. And I feel like there has to be a little more usage of the wobble seam because Siraj was getting the batters in uncomfortable positions every time he used the wobble ball. And the thing with Siraj and as to why that wobble ball even works is because he is a swing bowler, and so he consistently keeps taking the ball out, gets the batter set in a certain direction, and then nips one back in. That's why Siraj has been successful. This is what we were missing. Let's really hope that this is the Siraj we get to see for the rest of the series.
And then let's go to quick wit in Brett. I mean, a lot of you guys were yesterday. You guys were talking about how the tail has done, how India's tail has done. So here you go. Have you put that actually?
Yeah.
All right. So no team has lost a test after 5 individual tons. Of course, they kept talking about that in the commentary box.
Except for India now.
Yeah, right now. But since the start of 2024, India's last 5 partnerships have added fewer than 50 runs 9 times. No other tail in the world has done so.
On
No.
even more than 7 occasions.
And the worst part is if you add on the amount of runs the England tail scored in the first innings, that's more than the 2 innings combined of the India's tail. So that should tell you something. India's last 5 wickets have averaged 18.9 since the start of 2024, the worst amongst the 9 nations in the World Test Championship. I think the worst or little
Is
less
Sri Lanka,
yeah,
I think,
Sri
for
Lanka,
last
yeah.
4 wickets, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong.
so there you go. That's you guys were asking how the tail has done. Here you go. This is how the tail has done. Let's go to the technical tidbits and talk about the man who took the game away from us.
All right, so for a change in the technical tidbits, we don't have an Indian player. But this is to highlight, I could have actually taken even the Indian Centurions wagon wheels, and something that you can actually look at on ESPN is the run distribution in these wagon wheels. Something that we've repeatedly talked about is why it is so important to get your run square of the wicket and try to avoid playing in the V unless it's really possible to when it comes to conditions in England. The reason for this is because there is late swing, there is a lot of movement, and so you don't want to be committing early, and if you're committing early, you'll tend to play in the V, but in England, you'll tend to get edges. If you'll see the run distribution here for Ben Ducket, you'll see that he's only got 24 out of his 149 runs in the V. The rest has been square of the wicket. You saw him pull, you saw him cut, you saw him use the reverse sweep, which also happens to be his most productive shot. And the control percent is interesting, 78% control, not someone who was fully in control of the kind of innings he played. But it just goes on to show that if you're someone like a Ben Ducket who is scoring runs continuously, you can have those odd misses. So that's on Ben Ducket. There is one more slide we'll get into in terms of the technical, and that's right here. This is Ben Ducket shaping up against Ravindra Jadeja. And this was a masterclass in how you attack spin bowling on pitches where there's a lot on offer for the spinners. Now, there was a bit on comms where Pujara was talking about how Jaddu doesn't particularly enjoy bowling into a rough that is this wide because he feels like it eliminates the stumps coming into the picture, even despite all of the turn you can get from those patches in the rough. But every time that Jaddu was bowling somewhere around that rough, Ben Duckett was very quick to ensure that he was reverse sweeping. He got a lot of runs there. And here's the thing, right? If you were a conventional batter who did not have a reverse sweep over here, it completely removes that scoring option for you. And there's a good chance that that field is kept open for you to cover drive through there. What Ben Duckett is able to do is because he's reverse sweeping, he's still playing with the full face of the bat. And essentially, he's smothering the spin because he is playing a sweep shot, which is very effective against spin. And through this, I think the Indian bowlers have been fairly clueless. Even when England did come to India, sweeps and reverse sweeps, and even back in the Mike Gatting time when sweeps were a big thing, it has always troubled the Indian spinners. And that's exactly what happened here as well.
Let's go from that to addressing the chat. We will be here for a bit, especially because it's the last day of the test
Chat,
match, and
what's
we
up?
won't be here until the next test match, which is on Wednesday. So we won't be here for a while. Right. How many wins in the last 9 tests? 7 is what I want to say, if I'm not wrong. Oh, no,
Or?
7 losses.
Oh, for
2
India.
wins is what I want to say. I was surprised you would ask about the wins when we really haven't won anything as recently. There was an LBW shout against Root, which missed the stump. Some other day it would have been 3 reds. Just the cricket gods were against us. I was honestly quite surprised by the bounce. I thought that was plum. The
Oh,
umpire
yeah.
thought it was high because he gestured it after the review. And so, good on him, I mean.
Yeah, good umpiring in this
Yeah.
match.
I just want to ask the guy of it, where do you get spin purchase in English conditions?
Wait, I don't understand that question.
Same. Srikanth, it's the first time.
Srikanth, type it probably.
I think India lost the test when they failed to get a single wicket in the first session. I think that could have been it, to
That
be
had a
honest.
big
And
part, yeah.
yeah, I thought this is what the Indian batters did yesterday. The difference is the batters didn't look to accelerate unnecessarily and get out. And I'm not taking a dig at Rishabh Pant. I think it's an introspect thing or retrospect thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
As much as Rishabh Pant plays the way he does, the question needs to be asked is, why can't he score a big 100? Like, why is it that he needs to hit out of his way after scoring 100? I think that's not necessary, but then the argument is Rishabh Pant is Rishabh Pant. But then he scored those hundreds a certain way. Why can't he just continue doing that?
You know, there's a very interesting stat which I've forgotten to put, but it's for you all to ponder upon. Every time Rishabh Pant has scored a century overseas, he hasn't won test match. It's all come in losing causes.
I mean, that also
Which
says that
is-
he scored under pressure or scored in
Which,
tough
yeah,
situations.
does say that. Another reason why India lost, and possibly a bigger reason, is the way they fielded.
Oh, yeah,
and even
100%,
before
yeah.
that, the collapses, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think fielding was a huge part. India could have easily been up, I want to say 100, 150 odd in that
Yeah.
first innings.
5 good balls and a release ball that follows.
Exactly.
This has been the case. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. This
Yeah.
has been the case. I mean, you Stark edits, you asking, should Prasid be backed? I don't honestly know.
You know, even I'm not sure because Prasid in the field also is a bit of a.
No, to be fair, I thought he fielded well today. I mean, when he was in the sweepers, he was able to get to the ball. I thought he did pretty well, honestly.
The only times I saw him field were when he missed a couple of
Yeah.
boundaries. So, but yeah, I think Prasid, it's a tricky one, right? Because if he's consistently going to ball like this, where he's balling like 4 good balls and then he gives 2 bad balls, not only does it ruin his figures, not only does it take away all the pressure he's applied, but it's also bad. It's detrimental to the other bowler. And
Yeah.
bowling is a lot about partnerships. As much as we don't see bowlers together like batters, bowling in tandem becomes very important Because from one end, even if you're not getting wickets, you want to be able to stem the flow of runs.
Yeah, I'll be shocked if Srinath, I'll be shocked if Bumrah rests the next game because it's a week away.
Yeah.
I think
Second,
the second test is a good break. It's after that that's the worry because then you have back-to-back tests. Hey, why Prashant? Hey, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that a lot. What was the point of playing Shardul? I think the point would have been understood. Like we wanted him in the squad before, except I don't think Gill used him enough. But then every time he came on, I didn't think he deserved the overs that he got. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
I
Yeah, and,
mean,
honestly, I don't know.
on paper, the point of playing Shardul was simply because he's been to England before, has the
Yeah,
experience, and he's a better bowler
then Nitish Kumar
than
Reddy
Nitish Kumar Reddy.
had a good Ranji season, so
And
everything backed him.
yeah, like, and he got 50s in England before
Yeah.
as well. So
Akash at least was disciplined in Border Gavaskar Trophy. Yeah,
100%.
Prashant, he got wickets. Oh, right. Mark was so similar to Rishabh Pant, made 20 hundreds but crossed 150 only once. Yeah, that Umang, that is very, very true. I was actually reading about it and I've completely forgot. That's my thing with Rishabh Pant. I mean, as much as people back his game, my only argument is he scored those 100 runs a certain way. Why is it that that needs to suddenly change after he gets past the 100? Imagine if Rishabh Pant on the crease scores 150, 180 or 200. Like the demoralization on the opposition is insane. Dinesh Karthik in the commentary was telling something about test captaincy being relatively tougher at Leeds. Why exactly is that?
multiple reasons. I think in the recent past, it's just been so dependent on the toss because the
Yeah.
moment you've been put into bat first, historically, it's just easier because the batting pitch does not deteriorate as much.
Right.
But apart from that, also a big thing in Leeds is the crowd. They really get behind the English team. You'll see the Western stands and all of that. And that's also why England have scripted so many historic wins here. They've been able to
Oh, yeah,
chase
the
a lot.
graphic is wrong. I
What's
forgot
the
about that.
Strange.
Fair play.
Apologies for that, guys.
It'll be changed. Now, there you go.
Voila.
Now it's right. Appreciate that for calling that out. I didn't even realize. But go on, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, basically that's it, right? In Leeds, you always have the crowd really getting behind you, and that's something they spoke about. I think Michael Vaughan was talking about it.
Yeah. Why was Jadeja given the new ball? I just think they thought that he could turn it a lot more. He would get more bounce and everything. I thought that was okay. I just didn't understand why wait till the new ball to get a lot
he
of
was
other bowlers
already in a good rhythm.
GG picks the squad and makes plans. He has to manage the squad entirely. Srikanth, I don't know if that's a reply to someone because I know someone said GG might have nothing to do with it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know if that's false though, because I mean how would we know who's making?
I'm sure that Gigi's calling more of the shots now as compared to when Rohit or Bumrah might have been captain.
I don't want to say that because there have been occasions where there have been tough coaches, but also young captains. But this is Australia and this is from the books. And the captains do have more of a say. I'm not saying Gigi wouldn't have.
But this is Australia.
Yeah. But like, I don't want to speculate because
it's
as much as, Gautam Gambhir's test record at this point is absolutely criminal.
He can't bat in England.
Do you think they will change the playing 11 in the next test? Watch out on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. to find that out. On a pre-match, which we will do next test, and every other test that comes our way, we will do a pre-match and post-match of every single day of every single test match. Not only of every single test match, but every single India international, by the way. We will do a pre and a post. So I don't know if you guys knew this or didn't know this. Hey, why Prashant? Thank you so much for the super chat once again. Why did a batter struggle on batting pitches? I mean, you got 500s.
Our batters in struggle, they threw away their wickets very cheaply, and that's not the top 5. That's what comes after.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, some of the top 5 also threw away the wickets.
Not without scoring their runs. So
he certainly was a rubbish test player according to Boycott. I mean, he wasn't a good enough, at least overseas test player. Which Sena country's toughest? Depends on how the team is doing at that point, honestly. Boys, Gambhir lost 7 games. Damn, Srikanth, you've been adamant with this. I'll read it finally. Hey, Vasu, it's been a while, but
what up,
nice to see you here. Boys, Gambhir lost 7 games in the last 9 games with 1 draw. He has to go. Man doesn't understand test format. He was rubbish as a player and as a coach. How long of a rope does he have now? I think this test series is what he has. I don't see India. it's fine if India loses in England, right? You need to understand that England are the home team,
Yeah.
and home teams have advantage. We had that for what 12 years, 12, 13 years until we lost against New Zealand. Excuse me. And I think people need to understand that what's disappointing is how we're going about losing matches. Even when it was in Australia, even though Australia should have. I mean, they were, what a team they have, and they were playing in their own backyard. It's about how we are losing.
Yeah.
So I would still say this series and not a match or two. And even if we draw the series, I think that's a win for us because, again, we're playing away from home. But it's about how we are going about losing the matches, the fielding, the drop catches,
Yeah,
not
because
capitalizing when we have the chances.
this was a winnable test match.
Yeah.
Like, and for that, kudos. I think there's a big comment there in all caps talking about how the teams knew and all of that, and we should appreciate also their
All right, let's
performance.
read that. Ashish, I felt the boys did really played great considering the team is relatively new, has a new coach, new captain. We should just focus on our fielding, especially around the slips.
Mm.
Also, toss was a huge factor. Ashish, I completely agree with that. Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think it is a big deal that India lost. Don't get me wrong, but it's okay that India lost. It's the way we're losing. It's the fact that we
True.
could have won.
True, true.
And
Yeah,
it's
because
not new for the Indian team
because
abroad.
if we lose outright, I mean that's
Yeah.
okay. Like if you're getting outclassed and all, then there's not much you can say. But when it's moments that you're losing, and this, I mean, if you have been watching Test cricket since say the 2010s or the 2000s, India would
watched
come,
highlights for
yeah,
that
or
matter.
watched highlights. India would come to England, get battered 4-0, go to Australia, get battered 4-0, and we never used to have even hopes.
Yeah.
But the kind of squads we have now and the pedigree that we have and the superpower that we are as a cricketing nation,
True.
you expect any Indian side now to be able to put up a performance in Sena countries. And you see that it's just the key moments that they need to win.
True. Manvender, now see. I disagree with that. So now you say now we realize why Kohli is the GOAT captain. He is, but this Test match doesn't say anything. In fact, he lost his first England series. He lost his first Test match in Australia.
Yeah.
He then went on to lose the other two Test matches in Australia. So
Lost in
he-
South Africa.
yeah, lost in South Africa, and I mean, it took him a while to win in Australia to begin with. But until then, he lost all overseas
True.
Test matches. So you can't hold Shubman Gill against this one loss.
Yeah, it's his first Test match. To be fair, credit to Shubman Gill. I mean, he stepped his batting up.
True.
He did a lot of things that he
Right,
could
yeah,
do to, like, he did tick a lot of boxes. So at least it's good signs. It's not like he came in, got out for
Yeah.
20 and then 10 and then yeah. So
Bro, they need to all right. They need to add Arshdeep there so we can get the lethal bowling and support Bumrah. Otherwise, we are going to miss Bhuvi. I don't think we are going to miss Bhuvi. I mean, it's a very nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
And I agree, he was a good bowler. He was great, in fact. And I thought he should have gotten more chance in Sena countries. Every time, for example, in South Africa, the one match he got a 5-wicket haul.
Yeah.
And so, but he then got injured and then stopped playing red ball cricket and then just started recently and didn't perform all that great. So, would we really miss him? Siraj bowled so less today despite actually being good. Why?
Yeah, I wonder. I really hope it's not some injury concern or something. But yeah, folks, there's like 180 of you on stream.
Damn.
Whoever's new, just know that we'll be doing this every single day of the test series, every
Yeah.
test match day, pre and post. We have a lot of segments, technical, all of that. I only see 38 likes with 170 people. Can we please change that to 100 likes? Go like.
And we'll also be doing this for every India international match. We will
Yeah.
also go live. Oh, I don't know if we can go live. I wanted to say the Women's World Cup, but there might be games where we go watch the
Mhm.
World Cup. So
Yeah.
we'll figure that out. Right. Guys, I believe Karun Nair is unlucky. The match he came in DC, they started losing and disqualified. Nothing against him, but some guy. I didn't think you meant bad luck like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys think the fielding needs to be more intensified during the match to put pressure on the opposition? Yeah, absolutely. I think the fielding needs to be intensified, but in this test match from the next, I think the fielding just needs to be improved. Like, take your catches.
Catch the ball.
Yeah. Considering our tail, we should declare after 6 wickets down and save time and energy. And Jaiswal, I guess, had a delicious butter chicken between each session.
It's just one of those matches, dude. I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, for anyone who has played any sport for that matter, if it's not your day, it's just not your day. It's sad for Jaiswal that it wasn't his day on any fielding day.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
sometimes you can just have those test matches.
Damn, Nikhil, you said don't give them like unless they read out your comment. How if you were to read out every comment,
Nikhil, read your comment. Drop a like.
Manav, at least we won against England today somewhere. I don't know what that's
Hey, Manav,
supposed
you'll
to.
have to elaborate. We've been too focused on the test cricket.
Yes, fielding was more of a luck issue. We would do better next time around, I guess. Yeah, well, so I do agree with that. I think no one, like Bumrah said in the post-match press conference, no one on purpose drops catches.
Yeah,
It
true.
happens.
Hey, Indian under 19 won versus England Lions.
Oh damn,
That's neat.
that's a good thing.
Can
We
you
should
tell
have
us?
actually followed
Can
that,
you
but
tell us the scorecard if you don't mind putting it here? Was just one last job. Srikanth is still going on about Gautam Gambhir and how
yeah.
this should be his last assignment.
We could have backed NKR instead. He bowls 10 clicks slower than Shardul, but provides greater stability with the bat.
See, again, that becomes very subjective, right? There's no way for us to know how NKR would bat in England if because he's going to be new to these conditions. He hasn't been here before, all of that. But yes, like I do get where you're coming from. If they use Shardul the way that they have in this test match, then you might as well play NKR because he also will give you those many overs.
Dude, this match was insane.
Ashwin, read it out. Read out the.
Right, so the India under 19 game, I don't know who said it, but thank you for the shout out because this was an insane game. So it's a 50-over game, right? India under 19 versus the England Lions again. Young Lions, actually, the under 19 team.
England Cubs.
So uh, the India under 19 scored 444 for 9 in 50 overs.
Who scored?
But they were 91 for 5 at one stage. 91 for 5 by the end of 12.2 overs. And then 233 for 6. And then 7, so 7 for 235. And then 421 for 9. Their numbers. What is this number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's
1, 2,
insane.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number 9, as in our number 9, Harvansh Pangalia scored 103 of 52 deliveries. That's insane. We have, dude, number 9, 8, 7, 6, all scored 50s. Until then, no one crossed 40.
Wow.
And we scored 444. And they got all out for 211. Their opener scored 100. Hey, Vidwan Insan, thank you so much for the super chat. Boys, my heart aches. Punjab lost, India lost. Punjab, oh, you're a
There will
Punjab
be
fan.
better days. Don't worry. Cricket is a
Damn.
great leveler.
What a game this was. I'm surprised we missed out. But thank you so much for letting us know about this game. Because now I will.
Gill's field set doesn't match the context of the game anytime. You'll have to elaborate on that because I want to know if it has to do with outfielders or
Yeah.
attacking fielders or just bowlers to fielders and plans.
India women's team lost an ODI match against England Development 11 today. Good luck for the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. They'll be trying out all sorts of combinations. I don't think the practice. I mean, Jaiswal didn't score in any of the practice matches except for the second innings of the first test where he
True.
scored that quick
Plus,
50. But
plus, like I mean, the bowling lineup's completely new. We've done a video on that yesterday. Check it out.
yeah. We've actually dug ourselves into a hole with Sai at 3 and Gill as captain. Now we have no way else to back them for the series. It's dumb decision to start with. I disagree with that. I think
Maybe I mean, Gill as captain was not a dumb decision. It's not a smart decision. It's just probably
the only choice.
the only choice. The other way to go would have been Pant, but I'm not sure if he was ready for the job.
Yeah.
And as for batting positions, I mean, that's something that now can only be debated, right? Could Karun have played at 3 and Sai at 6? Would that have been better for the team? There's just no way of knowing, and I don't think they're going to be changing that unless these two keep failing at their respective positions.
Yeah, that's true. Hardik should prepare himself. No, he won't. Were you guys able to decode our bowling plans today? I felt it was all over the place. Mind you, I was fed up after the first session and was on and off for the rest of the match. I think the first session bowling changes were fine. I thought the
Yeah.
second session bowling changes were fine too. I just didn't understand the last 2 hours and I didn't know what the captain was waiting for. Either it's an injury thing, managing the workload thing, or he gave up the match.
But I mean, if you have to manage the workload of multiple bowlers in every test match, then you might as well not play them. If even in the test matches that they're
Yeah,
playing,
that's true.
they can't be used.
I feel we need more wicket taking options. NKR is okay, but Kuldeep should be the one in these flat pitches. Right, see, that's the
is
thing, right? In
interesting.
retrospect, Kuldeep Yadav would have could have worked maybe. But no one expected the pitch to play out the way it did.
Yeah.
A lot of people did say it's more drier than usual, it's more warmer than usual. But again, no one thought the pitch would play out like this, except for Ravi Shastri again. But again, now he was wrong because he said it was good toss to lose. Well, evidently not.
We were right.
Time to get Harvansh into India Test 11, guys. He'll.
Is he a fast bowling all rounder?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Rahul never gives the aura of a captain. I mean, neither did Steve Smith. Oh, I disagree with that. Neither did Steve Smith.
That was a proper captain, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
He was a good captain at that.
yeah, even when
Yeah.
he was a vice captain, he would take over Michael Clark sometimes, especially in test matches. Ooh, Vasu, interesting perspective. Ben Ducket, what a player. He swept effortlessly on Jadeja's
Yes.
bowling. He reminds me of a little bit of David Warner. Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's. I. To be fair, the stature of both of them, yeah, I understand why.
Pocket dynamite.
Guys, how do you come up with such specific stats? Like, do you search for player specific ones or how exactly? Because generally, we don't happen to come across such specific stats. Just curiosity. This is a very interesting question. Just trends. If there is a trend or to find a trend, you think of something and then you look at the stats to see if that trend is valid or not. And it's just that. For example, if when we were doing the video on
What India needs to do to
beat
beat
England,
England. We
it's
just
just,
looked at a lot of data.
yeah.
And I mean, there's one way to go about it, is just to look at scorecards, make observations. Things like if an opener does well, like if two openers from the Indian team do well, do they beat English openers if they don't do well? Just keep asking questions.
Yeah. True. Do we need a better bowling coach? As we are seeing repeatedly since the last several test matches, that no one other than Bumrah is consistent.
Morning, they were talking about comms, or maybe they spoke to Morning Mokel, and he did say that he was nervous for how today is going to pan out.
Right.
So I don't know, dude. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much the bowling coach has
How
to do with
involved are
anything.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the highest level, what do
As
you
much as
tell?
we might know some things about cricket, we don't know anything about how the Indian team
Yeah, like
works.
what the dressing room conversation is. No clue.
No idea, honestly. Another left-handed customer for India's in making after Travis Head. Guys, sorry I was trying to send you super chat, but I just forgot the pass. Dude, Akshay, you're chill. That's fine. Would we have tried to chase 371 if we were in place of England? I think we would have played exactly how we played yesterday and then gone about seeing how we could have
To
won
be
after
fair, that's
lunch.
also how England played. They were
Yeah.
fairly watchful the first hour.
I feel disappointed because Prasidh could have been great in another world. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Prasidh Krishna. It's
Yeah.
not just in this match. Every match that he has played, even on his debut, he was lackluster. Even in the next two games that he played for India, it just seemed like he has that thing, but it's just not good enough.
You see like glimmers,
Yeah,
you
but
see sparks, but yeah.
how can 364 be a good score on the flat pitch? We made 400 for 4 in ODI in semi-final ODI World Cup. Our batsman has also failed more than. First of all, I mean, I don't.
Need to know what the context is, but you're comparing two completely
Yeah,
different things in different countries and different ball colors and how they behave. A lot of things.
unless you're talking about the World Cup in England, and if we played there. But
Uh,
even then, different formats, different ball, different pitches, different grounds. So like
yeah,
the
different.
comparison is Tim Southee. Yeah, Tim Southee is the bowling coach for England. Philosophical question, but should we stop pushing our best players as captain? Sachin never the
Hmm.
most amazing. Oh, that's not true. So let's not just expect Gill to be something he can't be. Try out KL Rahul. Sachin was a good captain. The whole
Was he?
yeah, he was a good enough captain. He didn't get the most. I
Oh,
mean,
the team to work with.
yeah,
Yeah.
the team to work with. That's a whole other story. But
Yeah.
I I disagree with when a lot of people say Sachin was a bad captain.
Mm.
He was good enough. He's had good records in the white ball and red. I mean, red ball might be a little problematic, but then
Sachin was captain when late 90s, right?
yeah,
Briefly. It's also the time there was a lot of
things
change and
going on.
vacuum, and of course the fixing bit and whatnot.
Right. Well then, Sharma. Oh, but to answer your question, first of all, thank you so much for the super chat. Just wanted to say you guys are a treat to watch. Appreciate that a lot.
Thank you.
I think this is the first time you're even messaging, so the fact that it's a super chat, we appreciate that a lot. I think the whole idea of making the best captain is what we spoke about actually in that video that we made. The best
Player,
batter
the
to make the
captain.
captain. I don't know. I mean, Dhoni was never the best batter of the team and he became the test captain, but he was the
He
white
was
ball
already,
captain
yeah,
and
and
he was the only other option. It's the same with Shubman Gill. I think,
I feel like Dhoni is also a bit of an outlier because when they sent him with that young team, he was one of the better batters
Yeah,
in
true.
that
But
team.
Ganguly wasn't the best captain.
Ganguly was a good test.
Yeah,
Oh,
but he wasn't the
best
best
player.
bat. Yeah, he
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't the best
Ganguly
batter
wasn't
in
the
the
best
team.
batter. Yes.
Yeah. No, I think the thing with this team is I don't know. You could. I don't know if they could have. I don't even think they looked at KL Rahul. If anything, he would have been the vice captain at that point. But Rishabh Pant's the vice captain, and a lot of
Mm.
articles kept talking about how the selectors have been talking to Pant and Shubman Gill. I just think they wanted someone new, young, and fresh. And KL Rahul's been in the side for a while, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough one because just if you think about it in car analogy, Shubman has shown that he can be a Bugatti. Have a Bugatti. Why would you want to take out an Ambassador, which is a good car, but it's old?
I have no idea why. I was pushing for Ravi Ashwin as the captain at that time. Yeah, same. I think a lot of
Mm,
people were. Been watching you since BGT. Don't get the time to join the live always. Hey, Vardhan, that's fine, dude.
same.
Thanks a lot. Do you guys feel India missed the trick after the double wicket by Shardul by not bringing Siraj? Yeah, this was a thing I was thinking about. Do you continue with the bowler that got you wickets or bring back your best bowler? I would have brought back Siraj because Shardul didn't get wickets with good balls. He happened to
Yeah.
get those wickets. And I'm going to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
Harry Brooks' wicket was like Ben Stokes' wicket to Sai Sudarshan in the first innings. Well, that looked more planned than this. And Ben Ducket just wanted to hit the ball, and he happened to play. I'm not taking anything away from Shardul Thakur. He got those 2 wickets and good on him. But at that point, I would have brought Siraj right back because they're under pressure. They just lost 2 wickets in a row. And yeah,
I might have given Shardul probably 1 or 2 overs. See how he's doing. Yeah.
after the retirement of Rohit Sharma, the team environment is so healthy. No dressing room leaks and no group divisions in team that we
Hey,
know of.
it's just been one test match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel if Kuldeep was in 11, he could have made a difference or not?
With the kind of rough out there, he would have had some sort of impact. But again, it's very subjective.
Yeah, but it would have been so difficult though
For him
because he's
to-
a left
He would
arm
just have to
spinner.
use ball googlies,
Googlies,
nothing
yeah.
else.
We will see the similar kind of wickets in remaining matches also as flat. Batting friendly pitches seems to be the strength of England? Question mark. Possibly.
Pitches have gotten better for sure.
Yeah. But we saw the Lord's pitch in the WTC final and that was pretty spicy. And
Yeah.
pitches at Lord's have been pretty spicy for the last couple of years. So it will depend on the ground. But yeah. Never seen Sir Viv Richards drive the way Shardul Thakur does. Swinging ball and bro swings more than the ball. Good lord. This is where I disagree. I think Ash is one of our most cerebral players ever. You could make a case that he does so much. I don't know what HW as a bowler.
Homework.
Right. And that would affect him as captain.
That is an interest.
Yeah, I'm not too
Overthinking.
sure about that. Akshay Krishnan, I remember. I guess. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for the super chat, man. Appreciate it a lot. But yeah, oh my god, that happened by mistake. I'm sorry. I was trying to look at.
76 likes, guys. Push it to 100. It's very possible.
Oh no, the graphic is still missing. You know what? Drag it and drop, and here we are. Have the graphic back. All right, we'll be here for a couple more minutes, and then we'll see you next Wednesday. I feel Lords would be spicy. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
After that drop of Stokesy, thought India. Yeah, dude, same. Abhiram, same. After Stokes, no one went for that catch. I'm like, we don't deserve to win this. Like, if that's our mindset, is it a mindset problem that we cannot stick to good line and lengths, not making smart field changes, not fielding well altogether?
Execution more than mindset. I mean, I'm sure they would have had the mindset to ball 6 balls in a good place. It's just not come off, which is.
Brother. Oh, right. Sorry.
not-
Arvind, time to get a producer in. If we had the money, we would get a
Folks,
producer.
we'll start a YouTube membership where we'll charge $500 per month. Then maybe we can think about all this.
Why does everyone seem to hate Rohit? I haven't followed cricket much for the last 3-4 years, but Rohit used to be one of my favorite players. I don't know what went wrong. I don't think anyone hates him. I think the credit that he gets for his red ball career is a lot more than he deserves.
Fair.
Was there a way Jaddu could have been utilized better?
Jaddu himself, if he was more accurate, could have been utilized better. With the way Jaddu was going for most of the match, he couldn't have done much with it because he was building pressure. He, of course, still had a really good bowling rate. It was really good on the second and third day. I want to say, But the problem is in every over he was giving that odd short ball. And I feel like it has been a bit of a trend now with Jaddu in the last couple of series where he's taking time to settle into his
Yeah.
rhythm.
The team seems to lack the drive to win. I disagree. It looks like they were on the field trip. I disagree. The way Shadul just sat there, that was pathetic.
That I
That I
agree.
agree. All right, we'll take one last comment. Little disappointed with Jaddu how he used the rough against Ducket. Given how experienced he is, he should have done better. Yeah, that's so something the commentators were talking about.
Yeah.
I think with so much experience, if it was a young spinner, I'd possibly get it. But
Just throw it into the rough.
yeah. That's why his captaincy was always a question, as you can't play both your best player and Sena due to conditions. All right, Jadeja and Ashwin, I think you're having a conversation with Vasu. But yes, this has been our last live, the 10th live actually of this test match. Damn, 50 lives. If only if we go to 5 days in all test matches,
Oh,
I
yeah.
realized.
That'll be a lot of lives.
Yeah. But this is our 10th live and our last live for this test match and for the week until next Wednesday when we join you guys at 2:30 p.m. Talking about the ground, talking about everything that needs to be talked about, where our pre-match will be more analytical because it's the pre-match live. And so there'll be a lot of first innings averages, second innings averages, and a lot of things to talk about. But yes, thank you guys so much for joining us this test match. A lot of you guys have been regulars,
true.
not just on a post match. You guys have joined pre and post, so we appreciate a lot.
Consistently 150 plus, I want to say, on the post. And today
Yeah,
I think
that's
we
true.
beat for this series
Yeah.
so far. So yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, appreciate it a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys didn't know already, on July the 6th, we are hosting an event
Yes.
on which is a Sunday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., which will be before we'll finish it off before the day's play. So come join us. You'll get free food, you'll get free merch,
Swag,
but
yeah.
more importantly, you won't get merch, but you'll get stuff. But
Yeah.
more importantly, we'll have a discourse on cricket. There are few things that are planned. One of them is a hot take bowl. So when you enter, you write one of your hot takes, put it in a bowl, and then we later on discuss it either with you directly if you want to speak, or just generally have a discourse amongst the crowd that is there. It won't be a large crowd, so don't worry about that. No, it's not like there's a
Yeah, it'll
large
be
crowd
capped
for
at
us.
50 people, limited seats. So, and we'll watch out for our socials because we'll put out all the registration forms and all of that so that we
Yeah.
know how many of you are coming. Also, before you close out,
Audio. What happened to the audio now? I don't. We'll just. It's
Cool.
okay.
also before you finish it off, Yashasvi Jaiswal video is out. Ashwin's
Oh yeah.
put in the work, so check that out. There's some technical stuff there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Manav, it's not free food because there might be a registration fee. We're still
Seafood.
We're just debating on that. But
Yeah.
Rahul Goradia, will you get a seat if you buy the ticket? Yeah, sure. And there'll also be a quiz, and then we'll also have a pre-match there because we are there, so might as well have it. So yeah, it'll be in Koramangala, Bangalore. See you guys there. But more importantly, see you guys next Wednesday. We put out a video today. We put out videos every Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. So keep watching out. Follow us on our socials if you haven't already. Thank you guys for supporting us like always. See you next Wednesday. Peace.